All right, welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we've got something huge to talk about. OpenAI just dropped something that's already making some serious waves. It's called GPT-5.2-Codex. And listen, they're not just calling it another tool. They're calling it a partner for developers and security experts. So what on earth does that actually mean? Well, let's dive in and figure it out.
So, it all kicks off with this, just a single, simple-looking line of code. You know, the kind of thing you'd type into a terminal without a second thought. But don't let that fool you. This one little command, it's the key to unlocking OpenAI's latest, and frankly, its most powerful model yet. And trust me, this is not just another small update. We're talking about a whole new kind of partner for anyone out there who builds and protects our digital world.
And that really brings us to the big question, the one that hangs over all of this. I mean, we're way past just using AI for simple code completion, right? We're now asking, what happens when an AI can't just write code, but can build and, maybe even more importantly, defend our entire digital world on its own? Yeah, the implications of that question, they're massive for both the amazing things we could build and the risks we might face.
Okay, so let's break down what this thing actually is. OpenAI isn't just calling it another coding model. No, they're using a very specific word, an agentic coding model. And that one word, agentic, well, it changes everything. So, agentic, what does that even mean? Well, think of it like this. It means the AI acts as an agent. It's not just sitting there waiting for you to tell it every single little thing to do. Instead, you give it a big, high-level goal, and it figures out the plan. It executes the steps, it troubleshoots when things go wrong, and it can see a whole project through from start to finish. You know, it's really the difference between a tool that fetches things for you and a junior developer who you can actually give a project to. And this is where it gets really, really interesting, the sheer scale of the tasks it can handle. We are not talking about writing some little function here. No way. We're talking about huge refactors that span an entire code base. Or, you know, those super complex code migrations from one framework to another that everyone hates. It can do that. It can build a brand new feature from scratch. And maybe the most important part, it can iterate when it fails. If its first try doesn't work, it doesn't just give up, it tries something else, all while keeping the big picture, the whole context of the project in its mind.
And look, this isn't just some marketing fluff. OpenAI has put this model through the ringer on benchmarks that are designed to copy the messy, real world of software development. You've got SWE Bench Pro, which is basically like dropping the AI into a real, complex code base with a nasty bug and saying, here, fix this. Then there's Terminal Bench 2.0, which tests if it can actually do stuff in a real terminal. You know, compiling code, setting up servers, all that hands-on grunt work. And the results? It's not just doing okay, it's performing at the absolute state of the art.
Okay, so that's the tech. But what does this actually look like for a developer, day to day? Well, this is where we start to see this incredible bridge being built, a bridge from just a spark of an idea all the way to a real, working product. And it's happening faster than we've ever seen before. I mean, just look at this new workflow. It's kind of wild, because its vision capabilities are so much better now, you can literally just feed it a picture, a sketch on a napkin, a polished design mock, whatever. Codex looks at it, understands it, figures out a plan, and then boom, it spits out a functional prototype. You're not starting from a blank page anymore. You're starting with something that works, and then you just pair with the AI to polish it up for production. This is an absolute game changer for getting from concept to actual code. But honestly, the most fascinating part of this whole story isn't just about building stuff faster. It's about securing it. And the way its capabilities were tested in the real world, well, it plays out just like a cybersecurity detective story. So picture this, it's December 2025. A security engineer, Andrew McPherson, is looking into a known bug in React, and he's using the previous version of Codex to help him out. He's got the AI doing standard stuff, like fuzzing, you know, just throwing a bunch of junk data at the system to see what breaks. But here's where it gets crazy. While the AI is just trying to reproduce the bug everyone already knows about, it starts flagging weird stuff, unexpected behavior that has nothing to do with the original problem. And following that weirdness, it leads McPherson to discover brand new, totally unknown vulnerabilities in React, one of the biggest software libraries on the planet. And this quote from McPherson himself just says it all. The AI wasn't just a tool following his commands. It was a partner. It was the one that noticed a loose thread, and when he pulled on it, this whole other much bigger problem unraveled. It's almost like it showed a kind of digital intuition. And that whole React discovery? It was absolutely not a one-off fluke. This chart right here makes that crystal clear. What you're seeing is the performance on a professional, capture-the-flag cybersecurity test. And just look at that jump with each new version. It's not a gradual slope, it's a hockey stick. The trend is unmistakable, and man, is it accelerating fast. But all of this incredible power, it brings us face to face with a massive challenge, a really tough one. How in the world do you manage a technology that can be used just as effectively by the people trying to help us as by the people trying to hurt us? This is that classic, thorny problem of dual-use technology.
And this really lays it out in black and white. The very same tool that helps a defender find and patch a brand new vulnerability is the exact same tool an attacker can use to exploit it. The AI that can analyze malware to build better defenses, it can also be used to create even nastier malware. For every single thing that empowers the good guys, there's a flip side that could empower the bad guy.
Now, to be clear, OpenAI is totally aware of this. They have their own safety framework, and according to it, this current model doesn't quite reach what they call a high level of cyber risk. But, and this is the really important bit, they know it's coming. They're already planning for future models that will cross that line. They're not waiting for it to happen, they're building the guardrails now, because they see that same accelerating curve that we all saw on that chart. So what's their plan? How do they handle this? Their solution is a very deliberate, phased rollout. Step 1, it's available right now for paid ChatGPT users. Step 2, it's going to roll out to API developers over the next few weeks. But it's step 3 that's the most critical piece of the puzzle, a special trusted access pilot program. So this pilot program is all about one thing: getting the most powerful versions of this AI into the right hands first. We're talking an invite-only deal for carefully vetted security pros and organizations. You know, the good guys, the ones with a track record of finding vulnerabilities and disclosing them responsibly. The whole idea is simple: give the defenders a head start. So when you boil it all down, their entire strategy is a massive balancing act. It's all about trying to tip the scales in favor of the defenders. By getting the tool to trusted experts first, and by building in safeguards along the way, the hope is to get the absolute most defensive, positive impact out of this tech, while doing everything they can to reduce the risk that it'll be misused. And so all of this leaves us with one last massive question. Look, the story of GPT-5.2-Codex, as wild as it is really just one chapter in a much bigger book about AI getting more and more powerful, faster and faster. And as these tools grow, the real challenge for every single one of us is to figure out how we make sure they build more than they break. How do we make sure they're forces for creation and protection and not for chaos? That's the question. And it's one we all have to answer, starting now.